strong verbs, but the strong verbs are much easier to decipher, to break down, than the weak verbs. So we're going to focus on the weak verbs, and once you get that, it'll be nothing to apply to the strong verbs. What do we mean by weak verbs? A weak verb is any verb that, folks, first of all, most of your verbs are what is called triliteral in the book. I don't call them triliteral. I just tell you really what it is. In other words, it's three-lettered. That's all triliteral means, three-lettered. So I don't try to confuse. So it's three-lettered verbs. That's what most of your verbs are, three-lettered verbs. And if one of those three letters is a vowel letter, then that verb is weak. If two of the three letters are vowel letters, then that verb is called double weak. But they fit in the same category. I just want you to know that if you hear something say double weak verb, all it means is two vowel letters in the verb. If all three of the root letters are vowels, and I only know personally of one word like that that has three vowel letters. But there may be some others that I don't know about. That means it's triple weak. So what do we mean by weak? Meaning that a word can be derived from it and not use all of the same, use the vowel letter in it. The vowel letter can change from one vowel to another, change from a to e to u, or it can disappear altogether, any word that comes from that word. But if it's a strong verb, all root letters will be in every word that comes from it. Now, basically, to understand Arabic and study, as far as studying, you need to understand that there are two groups of words in this particular division I'm talking about. There are words that are called root words, and then there are much fewer words that are called particles. What is a particle? A particle means that it's a word, but no other word comes from it. That's what a particle is. It's a word, but no other word comes from it. If it's a root word, then other words come from it. And that's how to study the language. Not by looking up a word and just, that means this. And now you got it. No, when you look up a word, study all other words, because in order to look that word up, we're going to show you today, you have to figure out what the root word is. And when you figure out what the root word is, then that's where that word is going to be in the dictionary, in the alphabetical order according to the root word. Example of what I'm talking about. The word Muslim will not be found in the section of seen, because in the section of mean. Muslim. It won't be found under the M. The M stands under the mean. It will be found under seen because the word comes from salimat. Okay, so that's just some general information for you. And now what we want to do is go to one ayat that we have on the board, and it is the second chapter in 121st verse. And I like it because in my mind it supports this strategy that I'm using here on how to study the Quran. It says, and I'll read you the translation first. Yusuf Ali says like this: those to whom we have given the book, study it as it should be studied. They are the ones that believe therein. Those who reject faith therein, the loss is their own. So by saying study the book as it should be studied, then the opposite of that is ain't no certain way of studying it. Yusuf Ali's translation is not wrong. So what I'm going to work with is two words and to show you to get more specific in what this way is, because he says study as it should be studied, but we don't know what that way is. It just says study as it should. Well, how should it be studied? So the words that's in here that he translates as study as it should be studied, when you study those words will study as it should be studied. When you study, should be studied. When you do that, then you're going to see how it is to be studied. by looking at those two words. Okay, he couldn't translate and put all that in there. Otherwise, he'd have a lopsided translation. You know, here the English translation would be 6 volumes, and in the one little volume of Quran. Okay, so he has a translator has to economize on the word and be most expeditious to use the word that fits the closest to it and try to get it said like that. So let's look at the word, the ayah. We have it on the board now. Will you be able to see this? We have it on the board here. And the ayah begins here. الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابَ يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ أُولَٰئِكَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِهِ وَمَن يَكْفُرْ بِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. All right. So I try to help you spot these funny-looking marks, because that's all they are, funny-looking marks. And until you agree upon them, that's all they are, funny-looking marks. Once you agree upon them, then they become alphabets spelling words. But I have to get your agreement on it. All right. See, writing and reading is and speaking also. All of it is a matter of agreement. It's agreed. If the parties don't agree, then if I make a sound and you don't agree that sound, with what I say that sound means, then it's nothing. I had an example of that this week. I just telling the brother about it a few minutes ago. Wednesday and Thursday was real cold. So our garbage was supposed to run Wednesday, but he didn't pick it up till Friday. Anyway, so I'm dragging. I don't know what they're gonna do. So I'm dragging the garbage can out Wednesday, and the little young neighbor right next door, he always speaks when he sees me. You know, yeah. I mean he's real young. She's probably in his 20s anyway. He said, "How you doing, Mr. Mohammed?" I stopped and looked at him. I said, "Everything is cool." And he looked at me. I said, "I know you say that in July, but I'm telling the truth." You see? He was wondering why I was saying everything was cool. I was saying it because it's true. He means everything's going all right. When you say it in July, you say cool, meaning I ain't got no problems. So, but he paused like I paused before when he asked me, and then he paused and stood up from his can. You know, he had rolled his can and like, "How you speak to me like? How you sound like that? Everything's cool." And then I pointed out to him, I said, "I mean it literally. Says it's 25 below, everything is cool." All right. Okay. So, but we were using the word differently. He wasn't used to using it like that. When he used the word cool, he's talking about everything is copacetic, everything is all right, you know. And I'm just being a weatherman. I'm telling the truth. So that's what I mean by words. Words don't have any meaning except by way of agreement between the users. All right. So the same thing. These marks don't mean anything until you agree to let them mean it. And the only way you can agree is to use them frequently enough so that they begin to represent what the originators of them said they represent. They really don't mean anything until you agree. All right. So what I did to try to help you with this agreement process today, I almost said this morning, but it's afternoon now, was the 2 words I want you to focus on. I put them in a different color. Nobody colorblind in here, right? Everybody can tell colors are right. If not, then this one. I know it looks something different, even if you're colorblind. These 2 don't look the same. All right. Those are the 2 words: yatlunahu and tilawa. Those are the words that's used and translated to mean study. In another place, he uses another form of the same word. I think it's in 29:45. Yeah, 29:45. 29th chapter and 45th verse. He uses another form of the same. Let me get the same color so I can put it down here. And this I'm not gonna write the whole verse up there because it takes too long. But I will put it up here. It's the first word, the first Arabic word in 29:45, and it's Utlu. Utlu. And Utlu is a word that he translates. In that case, it doesn't translate to mean study. he translated there, he said, it means to recite. But it's coming from the same word. Let me see, I'm just checking to make sure that I spelled it right. In other words, it's possible there's another ending. No, I got it right. Utlu. No, I got utlu. I got long u, right? It should be just utlu. I think I put utlu. Yes, I did. There he is. Now it's all right now. Utlu. And he said that there it's saying that ayat is saying utlu kitab. And that means recite. He said it means recite. And so I need to have that up there to try to help you along in agreeing with me on this, all right? So, it's utlu ma uhiya ilayka min al-kitab. Though, in other words, recite what has been sent to you of the book. Recite it. So, the recite and what do we say this other one means? And study, they're not exactly the same, are they? Maybe kind of kin, but not. All right. But we're going to talk about that kinship also. Because words, all the words that come from this family, they're going to have some kinship. So utlu is not spelled the same as yatluna, nor is yatluna spelled the same as tilawa. But they all come from this word, talad. And talad originally was these three letters. So this is, even though this is the way it's spelled, the way the root word is spelled, originally it came from these three letters. So that's where you will find it in the dictionary. You won't find it here. This will be too early. You got to keep going. You got the ta and the la, but you haven't gotten to the ooh when you get to this, so you got to keep going. You know how words are in alphabetical order. So this would come after this. So when you get to here, if you're looking in the dictionary, you say, where's talad? Where's talad? He says it's talad. You're not going to find talad until you keep going until you get to this talad and wah. All right? Okay. What happened? How did that happen like that? Well, remember what I told you about weak verbs? That the root letter can change or can even disappear altogether. Well, over time, this letter changed to this, so much so until they don't use this at all now in that form. They only use it when it pluralized. All right. So you got the ooh here, we got a prefix. Okay, we're gonna talk about prefixes and so forth. All right, now. So if you were trying to look either one of these words up, if you're very new, you might not realize that they both coming from the same word. So you get ready to look the word up, you should be suspicious. It's not true. I say suspicious, because sometimes it's not true. Anytime you see a word begin with ya and a whole, I actually gave you some time ago. I don't have time to do it now. Maybe we'll have to do it. I gave you a list of letters that are used as prefixes, infixes, and suffixes. All right, and those letters, when you see them at the beginning of a word, and then the next letter is sukoon, more than likely, the next letter is the first letter of the root word. That's just like a rule of thumb. So when I see the yeah, and it's one of those, I remember that I call those words letters of extension. Remember talking about letters of extension? And I think it was 9 letters that I gave, letters of extension, all right? Well, this is one of the letters of extension. And then this is sukoon. So I have learned from studying that this is probably the root letter, the first root letter. And then this is the second one. Well, this doesn't necessarily mean that this is the third one, but I also know that this could be an infix. In this case, it is not a root letter here, even though it's there. It's not a root letter. It is an extension to pluralize. All right. Okay. So now. Okay. So we got. That's how we get into the root word. And then the root word means to follow. Well, he said that this was to study as it should be studied. And that's what we're talking about. When I get to the root word and I find out it means to follow, then my brain gets busy. Because Allah says, I think the sister pointed out this morning, it's the 2nd chapter in the 26th verse, I believe it is. I knew it was in the Quran, I didn't remember exactly which ayat it was, where it says, Allah disdains not the use of similitudes from things lowest to highest. All right. So that's my mind. So when you're looking at language, you have to always be trying to figure out what is it representing, because it ain't nothing by itself. No language is anything by itself. It's always representing something that's in your head or something that's out there. All right. It's representing an idea or a physical thing. That's why he says that he disdains not to use it. He don't hesitate to use the likeness of something, because that's all words are. They are likenesses of an idea or something in creation. Physical idea, an idea in your head or something physical in creation. That's what words represent. So when I see this, and that the root word that originally when they first used this word, it meant to follow. So then how is studying like following? That's what I want to know. And that's the first thing you should, when you find your root word, and whatever your word is that comes from that root word, you want to know how is it kin to the root word. How is this word? So how is yatluna and tilawa kin to tilawa? Since yatluna and tilawa both have it to do with study. It means that, or utlu, which means to recite. They all kin. Let's do it from recited first. If I say, I live at 16542 South Paulina in Markham, Illinois. I just recited my address, right? And then I say, Brother Akbar, will you show me how to get home? That means I'm saying words out of my mouth, but I'm not. But if I say, my address is 16542 South Paulina, and that's where I'm going. Now I'm following, so that's what this Quran means, meaning whatever is in it, follow it. That's the kind of study this is. It's not just for recitation, and it's for following it. If you read the Quran and then do something just the opposite of what you just read, that was not tilawah. When you read it, your behavior has to demonstrate that you read that. All right? Your behavior has to demonstrate that just like my behavior has to demonstrate. Now, of course, with me, you say, well, the old boy got Alzheimer's, he can't remember his way home. But ordinarily, if I recite my address, I'm supposed to know where it is. Okay? All right. So that's the way we do the words. You're looking at it and you become, anytime you get to a vowel in a word, it's a long word, suspect that vowel is either a prefix, an infix, or a suffix. You can prove it later, but it's usually a prefix, an infix, or a suffix. All right. When we say a prefix, we mean that it is there before any root letter. If it's an infix, that means that it's there between the first and second root letter or the second and third root letter. Both of those are infixes. And if it comes after the third root letter, then it is a suffix, all right? And so the more study, the more you do this, and you'll find out that the suffixes, the prefixes, the infixes, and suffixes have agreed upon meanings also. You notice I want you to understand this, agreed. That's the significance of language, is agreement. That's the significance of language, is agreement. Meaning that this is either words, spoken words, written words, or hand signals that have been agreed upon to represent something. They represent, okay? All right, that's key. And to say, well, I'm just going to learn me a bunch of words. And so you learn a bunch of words and you know how to recite, you know how to say them. but you don't know how to find your way home. That's basically what's happening. You can say words, but you don't know what they mean. That's the same as me reciting my address and don't know how to get home. All right? So it's very, very important to understand the significance of coming to agreement with what the word represents. And the way that you do that with the Arabic language is you go to the root word. And then something in that, it may be a different way, some different way, but something in that root word is in every word that comes from it. It's like a child that's born between parents is going to have that parents, we didn't know about this a few years ago, but it's going to have the parents' DNA, right? And so baby daddy got in trouble when they come up with DNA, right? All right. Well, that's the way it is with that's the way it is with the Arabic language. It's not so true with the English language, and that's the reason why the English language is called a bastard language. Because they just throw a word out there and make it have some meaning because they agree upon it, but it has no kinship with any other word. I just used an example. July is 105 in the shade, and somebody say everything's cool. Has no relationship to anything that is in reality as far as temperature is concerned. They have changed it all together, but they've agreed upon it. So nobody, you won't find them out in the street, man, it's 105, what you mean everything is cool? Yeah, shook his shrugged his shoulder, you all right, that's my bro there, that's my bro man. You know everything cool, everything cool. So but in the Arabic language, they agree, and that's the reason why Allah used this language, because there's a pattern that you can follow. And that pattern will lead you to knowledge. And then the knowledge, once you understand the knowledge, then you will have wisdom. And I say this repeatedly to the people this morning on the Lifeline, because I know if I'd asked somebody here to say it, and you didn't hear this, I guarantee if we ask everybody in here, at least half of you would say, hey, what, I'm just trying to get wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And that's a scramble. That's like, you try to get knowledge first. And then once you understand the knowledge, then the proper application of that knowledge is wisdom. All right. Excuse me. But one thing about the Quran, Allah says in the Quran, when Allah refers to knowledge in the Quran, He refers to it as ilm. Agin, coming to ilm. When He refers to wisdom, He refers to, well, actually, when I jump to wisdom, we shouldn't jump to wisdom. When he refers to understanding of that knowledge, it's called ta'aqilun, meaning making the connection. That's what understanding, finding and taking knowledge and being able to see what does this really lead me to. That's ta'aqilun. And then once you get the ta'aqilun, then you get the, I heard somebody, yeah, brother, I've got to get the hikmah, brother, I want to get the hikmah. Hikmah is the wisdom, but you can't get hikmah first. Hikmah comes after ta'aqilun, and ta'aqilun comes after you get the knowledge. Get the knowledge, make the connections between that knowledge. That's what we were doing here today. What we did with these words we have on these two words that we have on the board, three of them in all. And as we made a connection to tala, and every one of them has to do with following. They're dealing with knowledge. One is dealing with knowledge as far as going over it. The other one is talking about, one down at the bottom is talking about reciting. But both of them it's necessary to follow the knowledge once you get it. Any questions or comments?
Excellent explanation.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yes, sir.
Could you explain the particle word again, please?
Oh, particles. Yeah, particles. Okay, I didn't explain it. I just said it. Okay. Particles are words like L, like L, and that means that no word is derived from this word. There are not many particles, but I'll just write a couple up here. This is a particle here, M. All right, and that means the, right? An, ein, particle. Now, I know that this is sufficient for you, Brother Ida, but I just want to explain to everybody. Meaning, no word comes from L. No word comes from Ein. Ma is a particle. It's an interrogative particle. It means what? No words come from them. Now, they can be combined, and that's called a compound word, but no word is derived from them. So you follow what I'm talking about now, Brother Ida? Those are the particles. Okay, that's not all of them, but and it's not many. No, there are not many particles. But when we talk about particles, we mean that this is a word that has no other word coming from it. All right. The only way you can extend them is combine two words together, like you can combine Ein and Ma, and that has been done so frequently until Ein and Ma. Who knows what that would wind up be if you combine Ein and Ma? It's the first word in sort of in Nabat. First word in Nabat. The very first word. Ein. What happened? It was Ein, which is interrogative about meaning is questioning, and mad. And they've done it so long until now they have come up with Ein. Meaning they took the noon out altogether and put a shadda on the, because in order to pronounce this, you'd have to say I'm mad anyway. Why? Because if these two words came together and they weren't joined, then what would happen is, here's how it would be. We had these words. And then mad. Then I'm doing it like this sort of, have to put the plus sign in. The way you would write that is, and you put a little meme up here. Meaning that we spelled it this way, but it's got, and we pronounce it, and then we put a shadda here. Because when noon and meme come together like that, even though noon is a sun letter, but meme is not. That's another whole category, but you have to try to remember something from other times. Noon is a sun letter, but meme is not. But because they are both the same physical path, they follow the same physical path in order to pronounce them. Except one is with the mouth open and the other is with the mouth closed. Noon is with the mouth open and meme starts with the mouth closed. Noon, meme, but both of them go through the nose, okay? And that's the same thing even with M and N in English. They are both the same sound except one is made with the mouth open, one starts with the mouth open, the other starts with the mouth closed, all right? So that's why they put the little meme up here, meaning that we're not going to pronounce this. This is the way it actually is spelled, but we're going to pronounce it as it's a meme. So then they put a shat there over here, and we still say I'm mad. And then they've used it so long until they cut the long mad off, and just say mad. I'm mad. And now that's a question about what? The mad is what, and the ein is about. About what? It's a question. What? You know, we don't say about what. You say, whoa. And what is it? Is that son? Whoa. What you're saying is, I'm mad. Okay, you say what? Okay. Any other questions or comments? Yes.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
I have a question for Sister Renee first, and then I have a question from me. So Sister Renee's question was in reference to, in the Quran, she didn't know which surah specifically, but it references the colors of Allah. Mm-hmm. And she said she looked in multiple translations of that ayat, and it used the word color.
Well, because I remember having read that also, but I haven't looked it up, and so tell her she got me. That's one I have to look up. I don't mean that I can't get it, but I just don't have it on top of my head, and I'm not going to play like I do.
Okay.
So tell her she got it, because I've often told you, you can ask me stuff that I don't know. But I will find out, and inshallah, by the next time we meet, we will have we'll have that. You have another question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So my question is in reference to the Quran in several places uses the word trumpet. And it says on the day of judgment that the trumpet will be blown. Yeah. So the Arabic in this particular surah, this is surah 23, is the Sod, the Waw, and then the R. And so they're pronouncing in this particular one, it's a noun, and it's pronounced suri. So it's the sod, the wow,